Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I have a few concerns about some people, but you know, such is life. I have some things to go over for different people, so it's not that I'll be going off topic or anything. It's just that I have several topics that I want to try and cover. So, yeah. Uh, let's see where I'm going to go first. I'm going to add a link on this video. I listen to, race doesn't necessarily mean anything to me unless somebody else is, like, giving me a hard time. First off, if you're like me and you were a baby put into a totally white home, I'm pretty sure that your upbringing might have been a little more loving and careful than mine was. So when you're picking on me, um, or if you think you are, you're picking on the wrong person. And I listened to this one, he's a black man that's a Freemason, and he is looking for um, chesselboard notes that may have been my 33rd degree, 3-time over Grand Master Mason, Templar, priest, father that raised me, that really didn't miss a beat on any of the teachings at the very highest level. So, for people that think that they're instructing me, I appreciate it. I'm looking for true camaraderie out here, but most of all, respect. And I have said before, when my oldest son was about maybe 20 something or another, he had went to visit our blood relatives in Texas that used to live in Minnesota, then moved to California, then to Texas. A biracial family, tri-racial. We have Polynesian blood in us too. So, anyway, um, on his way back home, he was on the bus, and he had ran into a man that was a Mason of the Prince Hall, and I had to explain to him, and that's why I'm gonna leave a link with some notes that if you're a Mason, you know who Albert G. Mackey is, and you know, like, who Manly P. Hall is, and these type of people. And hear what they have to say about the differences of the skin color. And it goes way deeper. And what I explained to my son, and what I'm going to tell you here, whether you actually make the connection or give up about anybody else except for your blood that is the same as my blood, unless you want to be seclusive, well, then you ain't gonna have any blood. Whatever. That's whatever you want to think, whatever you think your care for other people is, there's nothing I can do about that. But I explained to my son what they call the black nobility began in Egyptian times, breeding lighter skinned people to hide their identity. They're not the Moors, although that is a connection with England. And there's a German connection, there's a Chinese connection, a Norwegian. connection. They're all blood related. I'll go deeper into this with you. At this point, the true, what they call and what they think is noble, are entirely white. I showed another video today of Doug 5 years ago. Um, he actually was just coming out of some health problems, and I had a broken shoulder at the time. But I was like, I basically kind of chased him out of the house because he is the head of the Illuminati, the dark cabal, the black nobility. And this is who you are paying reverence to, that person, unless you believe that there actually was a male and a female in time that helped put you here now, and you pay reverence to the most high energy and those conduits of that energy on this planet that work as one. If you know that, that's cool. But it's just like I try to explain to people with the King James Bible. It's coded to use the New Testament in particular, has codes in it in correlation with the Webster Dictionary. And you can get out a thesaurus and a Strong's concordance to go along with that, but it has to be an older dictionary, and it has to be a older handbook. You'd be safe with the handbook about 1945, the blue book. And not the same as the Masonic Bible at all. And the 1921 Webster Dictionary, Merriam-Webster, is the last place you're going to find the true definitions for what is in that book to get the truth of what everything else in the United States has been translated out of, and why I'm talking about it, and why I can give the definitions to people that use those materials for understanding, because you are not going to understand it. It's written so you can't. So, but I'm gonna put some um a link for them trestle board notes, and I'll give you a little more understanding of how these white people that came out of the dark people are seclusive and exclude other races. They just think they know it. Each part only knows parts. There's no one lodge anywhere in the world except for those two pillars that are physical, that carry those books within themselves, those scrolls. There's nowhere on the planet that has the absolute truth of the science and the biology behind coming through the sea and them trying to raise their dead god so they had control over that situation. That's all it's about with them. So, and I don't like people. I mean, if you want to call the white man the devil, that's fine. You go right ahead. There's devilish people of every color, and we that have sanity fucking realize that. Now, if you're only preaching to your um race of people, I was going to say species, because if you're not including everybody, you are of a different species. That's where your heart is. So that's how I feel. There's Native Americans without clean drinking water that don't even own their own country at this point, and other people are screaming about their downtroddenness. It's like, who is the biggest victim? You're not going up against the dark cabal. You don't know what a victim is. You were not vulnerable in an adopted home as a baby. Stop playing like you had it rough. Your mother did not leave you cold and starving. Don't you hand me that shit. Not with intentionalness. Or if she did, then maybe she was of the Eastern Star, which I call the Eastern Star witches, that are either praising the Isis energy and trying to manipulate that, or praising the Christ energy as the male, knowing it's Satan, and trying to work within that. Both are foul. I think I'm done on that one. I'll just talk about my day for a second. The first thing, I brought in a kitty that was freezing to death. She was born sick, but I brought her in. She died by my wood stove. She's going to be cremated. So all the kitties are mourning, believe it or not. Animals are super sensitive. So anyway, pretty little white baby with a little gray on her head. Yeah, I said white. Fucked all that shit. I know what it's like to grow up and have hatred stares from people that were as pasty as my mouse. You think I don't? Blue-eyed people looking in my eyes and trying to cram a spoon of some goobered up shit into my face when I was a little kid. You have no clue what it was like. But I do have a clue what it is like to feel that racism and to feel that disdain from other people, and I just don't need any more of it. You didn't start running away when you were 5 years old. If you had had it bad, or I went and got emancipated, I just didn't complain about it. I had to get a job in an apartment and prove to the courts that I could take care of myself as a kid. Did you do that? And still try and survive without them taking my life. Not that they didn't try. The judge even asked me, "Are you sure?" No, no, that was my adopted dad. He said, "Are you sure you want to do this, Barbara?" I said, "Positive." And I signed the papers as an adult. But I was a teenager. I started it at 15, but then when I really started running away at 12, by 15 I had made it down to Florida, but I got busted in Georgia a long time ago and brought back, and they kept bringing me back, and I was putting a stain on their little Masonic asses. Because they tried to control the wrong person. I do not like manipulation at all. That's another topic that I was going to talk about today. If at any time, and don't threaten me, because I'll take your energy. If anybody is deceiving me, knowingly deceiving me, that's mine, not yours. So, just for the record, I ain't playing. You reap what you sow. Anyway, I think those are my heavy topics today. like that's not enough, but yeah. Then my cat's in here. I have one that I brought in that had got all busted up. I had to tape her leg, and I didn't think she'd make it, but she did. But and then Doug's cat Bob, her and Bob started fighting. She was jealous because I brought the baby in, and then Bob got mad at her because I'm cooking a turkey. That's his favorite thing, and he just was in a pissy mood. So anyway, true story. So I had to separate them a couple times. I had to spank him, which I don't ever normally do, but he was trying to eat the other cat. So cats, people act a lot like cats, don't they? Especially psychopaths. Well, when you're dealing with the Masons, control freaks of the whole world, you're dealing with psychopaths. Oh, let's just touch on the fact that you have lessons that you are supposed to be teaching humanity. Beautiful thing. You're also taught that you don't just teach out of your lessons, but when you go off base, where are you going? You know? That's just not cool. That's not priest-like at all. You can think it is. Go ahead, keep picking on them white devils. You think I've never had a black person beat me up? I should say try to, or more than one. Yeah. What did I do? I was on my paper route. They thought I had money, but I was younger than them, and I was working. They changed their mind when my dog came. I yelled. I was about a block away from home. Here comes this big black dog with gold eyes, with part of his chain hanging from his neck. They changed their mind. So, and I could tell you more stories like getting my arms sliced open and shit, shit that I did not instigate. But that's another story. I can tell you a real beautiful story. I was about 12. I was on a bus, and I sat in the back all the time because I didn't like the atmosphere in the front. If you get my drift, just call me Rosie Parker or whatever. So anyway, when I went to get off, I could tell that these misfits were going to try and do something to me. But there was this woman, she must have been about 40 at the time, and looked to be black lady. And she said, "You leave her alone." And they all dissipated. But she didn't want to do it. It went against her every fiber, but she still did it. And that was an angel in my day, you know, especially like in 1970, you know. Still had a lot of pain she was going through in life, I was too. Maybe she saw it in my eyes. Some people do, some people don't. So, either way, I'm just letting you know, Mr. Mason, that the organization that you're a part of is ran by a white dude in my kitchen. His lips look just like yours. They sure do. and his eyes can change. Isn't that a trip? So anyway, believe what you want to believe. I'm just telling you who you are and who you aren't to them. That's the whole organization, my friend. And if you think that I do not know from being a part of this whole situation for over 6 decades, I'm fully aware of all of it. One of the very few that are. That's why I'm out here talking. Well, not only that, I mean, I've made friends. There's people that love and respect me. And if you're going to try and devalue me in any way as a human, that's yourself that you just did it to. Nobody else. I wouldn't be teaching the next generation my hate. The Native Americans should be the ones full of hate, but they're not. Even in slavery, most mothers didn't have their husbands murdered and their children taken and put into schools and separated. Some, but it was very typical. It was the thing with the red people. That's where your sympathy should lie in our country. There's people from other countries. I know a half African man, and his mother's English, that has sympathies for the red people because he knows history. He knows his own history from his father, first hand, and his mother, and his Masonic connections from his grandfather. So my friends aren't just your like typical, we don't know any type of nothing. We know quite a bit around here. I think that covers that. I think that's disappointing. I mean, I don't mind hearing it once or twice, but if I get on a video and I feel like just because um, I'm not darker, that I have to be punished for something I would never do in my life. I have a totally beautiful blonde, blue-eyed little granddaughter, and one of my sons is, and my birth father was, um, of many different bloodlines, but and the same with my mom's side of the family. I'm related to everybody, and what do you think that makes me feel like to hear such nonsense out of another human being? I have grace and dignity, especially for other people. I humble myself. Anything else than that, and you're only ministering to your level, nothing higher. You don't ascend like that. Maybe that's not your intent. At this point, I'm really not sure, and I'm not going to go over for seconds and thirds of the same beating. Would I now? If you want to fight me, just come up here. and we'll go out in my yard, and you can pretend I'm the white devil that you hate, that you pay reverence to. Go ahead. I have no fear in that area. Yeah, we got firearms. There's armaments all over here of the biggest calibers. I don't need them. I know how to make bombs. I can't help it. I just learn it. I mean, it's like baking bread. Sometimes you just learn things. What are you supposed to do? Pretend you don't know? You know? Anyway, let's keep this in mind for people that are highly educated. My education's higher, and I just wanted company from great minds, not a lesson on virtues and solace and meditation. My life is one big meditation connection with my other half of that energy. That's all my life has ever been. You're not going to teach me about myself. You can tell me more about you. You don't need to analyze me. I don't fucking hide. I'm not going to pretend I'm a teacher, get the students in the classroom and then slice their little throats. There's other way to teach people. I mean, yeah, I have to teach monsters. If you're teaching monsters, well, maybe that's how you got to go about it. But I'm telling you, that's not what you were there for. And you failed at your job as far as I'm concerned. At least winning my heart. If that's not important, well, hey, whatever. Maybe you're afraid of uh, people in your community that are more important to you. That's wonderful. I have one more cigarette and chat a little bit here. Mike Tyson, what a slouch. That's a bummer. How embarrassing. You can tell he wasn't working out every day. You can tell when somebody does. Their muscles don't stop popping out. Your definition, once you have it, if you maintain it, it doesn't go away. Yeah, he must have been doing something for decades to abuse himself. Hey, I get what you're saying. I mean, I fought what you call white devils. Yeah, not a pretty thing. I know right where you're coming from when you can say that with all conviction. I also can pick any color of the rainbow and tell you my wicked experiences. Do you ever have a ninja, a Asian ninja, follow you around because they beat you in a sparring match? Probably not. I have. This is somebody that did kung fu, and I was starting with judo, which is the beginning of them all, the mother of the arts, and progressed through everyone I could get my hands on, so to speak. But, it's like, it was so funny when I put him on the ground and he just couldn't deal with it, you know. It's like a dude with another Asian dude with his nunchucks, and I just fucking snagged him. I put them together and I went like that, like I was beat him in his head. Who's quicker, you know? Stop your fucking shit, you know. And another guy, a white devil, come to my door one time, um, trying to start some problems. Thought I was just a mother alone with my kids. Had some nunchucks and needless to say, he didn't. He thought about swinging them, and then thought better. I have people pull guns on me. Like, okay, you're gonna either put that away or I'm gonna kick it out of your hand and knock your fucking head off before you can do anything. He put it away. And yeah, I've been shot in my leg and shit. I mean, I've had a lot of things happen, and you'd think that I would have a monicum of fear, but I don't. I'll get angry, but I'm not gonna, like these little, I see red. No, not yet. You're just retarded and psychotic. Well, that's what's up in my world today. How's yours doing? So, I'm gonna get this uploaded. I just wanted to really share this on the Prince Hall so you can see how the other lodges around the world that were supposed to end in the Middle Ages. None of them were approved through the major one after the Middle Ages. None of them in America are righteous according to the grandest lodge. So think what you want, say what you want. I'm just going to share the information with you. You'd be probably well advised to uh, also look at the notes that have been taken um, either by secretaries in certain lodges or temples or um, different books and writings that have been written on the heritage of people that I know really well. So appreciate you joining me. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.